Hey, thanks for coming to check out my video. So today we're talking about the Sennheiser HD 598s. Now, straight off the bat, these are a great value headphone. And while they don't look the best, we'll have a quick look at some of the pros and cons and what I think of them. So firstly, I've had these headphones for, I'd say, 2.5, 3 years now. I've probably listened to them well over 1,000 hours. And yeah, so the way I thought I'd do this video is first I'll go through some pros and cons of the headphone, and then at the very end I'll talk about the sound quality, or at least my interpretation of it. So the first thing, obviously, these run about $150 on Amazon, and they just offer exceptional value for money. Um, well, these aren't necessarily headphones that you'll give to someone and they'll say like, "Wow, those are so amazing. The bass is so strong." If you know what you're listening to and you know how it should sound, these are pretty spot on. Um, so yeah, that's the first thing. As I said, excellent sound quality. Now these have a really long cable. This could be considered a pro and a con depending on your situation. So basically, if you're wanting to sit down in your living room, I believe the cable is 2 or 3 meters. 3 meters, I think. Basically, you're able to reach your couch no problem from when you're lying. I find these nice just to lie down in bed, watch a movie on. Yeah. So the second really good thing I would consider would be how immersive the soundstage is. Now, if you don't know what open back headphones are, not sure how you can see, but that's basically a vent. Um, this means that it makes you feel like you're really there. You feel really present with the music, and it means that I guess the downside of that would be that people can hear what you're listening to, and it also has a downside that sound bleeds in. So if your neighbors are mowing the lawn, for example, these are going to do a really terrible job at blocking that out. Okay. Um, so one of the reasons I did pick these headphones up was because how comfortable they were. You can literally listen to these for all day and you'll totally forget they're even on your head. So basically the air cup totally goes around your ear. It doesn't actually end up touching your ear at all. It just kind of hovers over it, which is super comfy. Have these nice padded, kind of velvet textured pads. Super comfy, and the headband is fully adjustable, so I've never had any issues with comfort. These have been awesome in that regard. As you'll notice, the cable is detachable, and this is good for a few different reasons. So if you were wanting to change the setup, use a shorter cable, you'd be able to go on Amazon.com and buy one like that or something, which is awesome. Also, if something would ever happen to the cable and it broke, you'd be able to replace it. So that's another kind of added benefit. And it also comes with that headphone adapter, so it would fit something like your phone or maybe your computer. Yeah, so having a look at the cons of these, as we've discussed, they bleed noise, so people around you can hear what you're listening to. There's no sound isolation, so you're going to hear everything people around you are doing as well. And one of the first things I really disliked about this was this long cable. It seems cool at first, but if you're just wanting to chuck your headphones on and plug them into your iPhone and walk around the house, you might have an issue with that. Another thing, with this adapter here, you'll see how it's really thick heading right up to the end of the headphone. The bad part about this is, say if you've got an iPhone case or a phone case for your Samsung, whatever, it may not fit straight in. You may have to remove the case to get that to work, which I found to be really frustrating. So that's something to consider. I mean, these aren't exactly Beats by Dre or anything. They are pretty ugly, let's be honest here. Maybe they'll look better in black. I'll put a link to the description for both colors if you want to check them out. But yeah, I mean, these ones, typically they're for wearing inside your house anyway, so you wouldn't be too concerned with how they look, I suppose, but it's just something to keep in mind. So yeah, I mean, this adapter is pretty ugly. It's pretty massive as well. Like, if you look, I have pretty big hands, so it's probably the length of a credit card in a bit, I'd say. Or all up, it's even more than that. I mean, here's a big pen, for example. Like, it's nearly the same size. So, not exactly great for portable use because of that. Let's see. Yeah, I'd say the one flaw I found in the design is the adapter that clicks into here. So, there is a locking mechanism. I'm not sure if you're able to hear this, but there's a small click and that means it's locked into place. So that means this cord can't be pulled out, and I would actually recommend leaving it unlocked so that if something, your headphones snagged on something and they got pulled, it will actually just pull them straight out. I've nearly damaged the connection by having it locked in, and it kind of just yanks on the cord, and it's really bad for the connection. So that's just one thing to think about. So yeah, I should also mention these come with a 2-year warranty where you buy them from a registered dealer. So that's really cool. 2 years is pretty long. And normally with headphones, you know, you kind of get bored of what you've got and you're going to want to upgrade within that time anyway. So yeah, that's cool. Now, let's talk about the sound. So that's the main reason you'll be buying this headphone. It's because the sound quality. If you don't believe me, you can jump on some forums and they'll tell you, you know, it's really awesome. So the highs and mids sound awesome. You know, putting music on, as long as you've got good quality music, you're going to hear stuff in it that you've never heard before, and as soon as you go put your crappy earbuds back in, you're going to be a bit disappointed, which is really cool. Now, the one weak spot I'd say on the soundstage of these is the bass. The bass is present, however, it just doesn't have that kick that you might want if you're a big hip-hop listener. Personally, for me, I still really enjoy listening to hip-hop on these, just because of how clear the vocals come through, and the bass is still there, but it's nothing compared to what you'd expect from a Beats by Dre headphone. And that's kind of one thing, is that people use that as a determinant of how good a pair of headphones are. So they'll put on a pair of Beats by Dre's and they'll be like, wow, the sound quality on these is so awesome, like they kick hard. These don't quite get that, but honestly, they sound so great. I can highly recommend these headphones, guys. If you live near a store that would allow you to try them out, I definitely recommend you do that. I also think it's important to go and actually plug the device you'll be listening to them on, just to get an idea for how they'll really sound for you. And you might want to consider picking up a small DAC or amp just to go along with that. I've got one lying around here somewhere. So I use this shit fuller, just a tiny little amp, headphone jack in, volume knob, real simple. I find this gives them a lot more punch, and it actually gives the bass a bit more of a response. These run about, I think, $80 or something. I'll put a link in the description as well. Not necessary for the headphones, but if you're looking to get the most out of them, I would recommend picking them up. So that is my review of the Sennheiser HD 598s. Really good headphone. Highly recommend picking them up, and thanks for watching.